Hola, my name is Dominica Rice. I'm the chef and owner of Cosecha Cafe in downtown Oakland. We're making tamales. Of course, you can eat tamales all year round, but for our family, this is the backbone of my family's holiday diet. It's all about tamales for the whole month of December. In a lot of California families, tamales are king. We're starting with the basis, and that is the corn. This is the most important part of the tamale. Without the corn and the masa, you have no tamale. I buy prepared masa para tamal. It already has some fat, some salt, and a little bit of like a baking soda added to it. So even with that prepared masa, I still want to add a little extra salt. So you're going to have to taste it. Sometimes you want it a little overly seasoned so that when it goes through the steamer, it's kind of perfectly seasoned by the time it's ready. So I add a little bit of extra salt, some broth, mix it in there. You'll get a little messy. In my family, tamales are a competitive sport. And the first part for the kids is with the corn husks. You can purchase them by the pound at your local bodega. These corn husks have been soaked for about an hour in warm water and then rinsed clean of the corn silk, and we've separated the gorgeous beauties here. For our family, we use a lot of corn husks and only corn husks for our tamales. But at Cosecha, I introduced some of those banana leaves that are very common in Mexico. It gives a nice perfume to the tamale that's different. And I kind of appreciate it now. And not so much as when I was a kid, but now I do appreciate the aroma. These have been cut, washed, and toasted over the stove. Now they're super pliable and ready to roll. So we're gonna make black bean tamales wrapped in banana leaves today. I do like to add a little bit of an herb to this. So we're gonna be using the hoja santa, hierba santa. I'm gonna remove the stem, roll this up. And it's so aromatic. It's like fennel and a little bit like a basil. Okay, so I love having the parchment paper in between the layers. The banana leaves tend to crack a little bit, so the parchment helps. So I usually add about 2 tablespoons of masa, create a little bit of a disc in the center that's about yay wide. Add a little bit of the black beans, queso fresco, or any cheese of your choice. I love adding a little bit of the fresh herb. Dried herb is fine. I'm gonna fold this over all the way and then push it a little bit down and then get that edge of that parchment. Okay, so kind of seal it in there. Crimp the sides a little bit and then fold it under. And have a nice little tamale package. Ready for the pot. Our second holiday tamale is the red chili and pork. But of course you can use any stuffing that you'd like, but this is just really special for us in December in our family. This assembly line is a little different. Get around 5 corn husks and lay them so that the waxy side is facing me, ready for the stuffing. The other side, it's leathery and suede texture, but the inside is always waxy. Don't get nervous if you can't notice it. That just means that the leaves you have are super tender and it'll be fine. 2 tablespoons of the masa. You want them to be about the same so that they can steam up at the same time. Trying to focus kind of in the center for these and all the way to the edge. So this should be about a 1/4 inch thickness for the masa. And our filling is the braised pork with red chili, our carne adobada, a really big spoonful to each of them. So this has a nice guajillo chili salsa, which is kind of like your red enchilada sauce. And it does have oregano, so we're not gonna worry about adding more herbs. But in our family, and in a lot of families here in California, we add the California Mission olives, what I love. I'm not sure why we do this, but this is the only recipe that we have in our family that we use is olives for, and we love it. Okay, now we're ready to start rolling, okay? So I have a lot of hoja on this side, so I'm just gonna trim that off. I'm gonna roll this over, and then I'm gonna stop. At this point, I'm gonna kind of crimp that edge, fold that over, and then keep rolling. So I like doing that because it just has like a perfect little nest at the bottom. And then we just top off a little bit of the masa on top. Now, if you have time and support from your family, you can tie each of them up, which is super pretty during the holidays. So you have to be patient with yourself. This is not about who's the fastest tamale maker. It's just who's given some extra time to kind of like make it right. Okay, crimp. And these are ready for the pot. Okay, so my tamales have been steaming for 2 hours in my favorite dim sum steamer. This is not traditional, but for me, this is what I use to steam tamales. So the bottom is hot water. I'll put some salt, some aromatics in there. And then this will be a layer of the pork that we did today and a layer of the black bean tamales. Be careful, it's so hot, that first blast of steam, so let that go very slowly, okay? And then try, if possible, like let it lift off away from you. For stacking the tamales, they're definitely stacked a little different. I think 2 packages on top of each other is fine. I won't go 3 layers. It gets a little bit too mushed up. What you want is that the masa has a chance to spring up a little bit. And I'll cover it with some of the banana leaves, and then they're ready to roll into the steamer. For the pork and corn tamales, I do cover them up with some of the extra corn husks. You want the open side of the tamale facing up. And so that also gives it a chance to kind of the masa to spring up a little bit and breathe. Okay, let's serve them up. So we have a corn with pork and then the banana leaf wrapped black bean tamale. Let's see how they're done in the steamer. Hopefully they're done. You never know. Oh, that looks really good. Okay, I like to serve the black bean one with the banana leaf on the plate. I think it looks so pretty. And then here's the corn and pork tamale. It's nice and ready when it's nice and clean off of the husk. Here you have our holiday tamales.